Let resolution be your solution.
And we're discussing sports and which sports you like, which sports you don't like, which sports you recognize, and which sports are alien to you, new to you. And our first caller is Gavin.
Oh, well, you know, you're talking about sports. It's a joke, is some sports. I mean, for example, Formula One. I mean, most of it takes place in garage.
What do you mean by that? So the drivers are very incredibly fit.
Incredibly fit? What a joke. All they do is sit round in the car all day, running round like a fool. OK, they've got to be aware of the circumstances, aware of that, but it's not a proper sport. I mean, if it were, mechanics would be considered sportsmen in every walk of life. Well, of mechanicking, that is.
Well, I understand your view.
Not only that, I understand you're going to be covering World Chess Championships. I mean, that's not a sport.
I understand Mac has some shocking news about that event to impart to us in his report later on after the weather.
I mean, as if weather's going to affect chess. It's played inside. I mean, it's all castles and horses and pawns and queens. I mean, what sort of a sport's that? That's not a sport. It's no more of a sport than darts is.
You don't think darts is a sport?
I don't think darts is a sport. I know darts not a sport. I mean, snooker, that's a pastime.
It certainly does pass a lot of time, 17 days during the World Snooker Championship.
Snooker? It's not snooker, it's snooker. Honestly, you sound like a Canadian.
Well, I'm not a Canadian.
No, I'm not surprised. Anyway, that's another thing. You're talking about darts and snooker. These are pastimes. They're not true sports. I mean, golf, that's not a sport either.
You're saying golf's not a sport, but you manipulate the ball in the air. You make it turn and curve wherever you want it to go.
Yeah, most energetic part of golf, as far as I can see, is climbing out of bunkers and getting ball out at hole.
Well, you're more than entitled to your opinion. Thank you for your call, Gavin. Our next caller, now that we're recovering from Gavin's call, our next caller about sport is Ron.
Aye, well, the most impressive sport I think I've ever seen is basketball.
Well, you're cock-a-hoop over basketball, I take it.
Aye, I think it's a great sport. I mean, it's end-to-end stuff. And I mean, the height of some of them players, I mean, it beggars belief. I mean, we were talking about Stephen Fry and John Cleese and all these people the other week. I mean, they're dwarfed by some of these basketball players, man. And I mean, that's the measure of a true sport as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, that's my two penneth as far as I'm concerned. Although I have had reason to reevaluate my thought processes regarding this measuring method. But at the moment, I'm remaining stoic about it, you know.
Thank you for your call, Ron. The next caller is Fred.
Oh, well, you know, I think I made a rather frivolous suggestion once before when I rang the station that, you know, greyhound racing, they ought to have small monkeys on the back of them, you know, as jockeys, and but I understand that some monkeys struggle to keep the weight down due to all PG tips and biscuits.
Is that a fact, or are you turning into a bit of a fantasist there?
Oh, well, I don't know about that, but I'll tell you what I do notice, you know, horse racing, which sometimes can be a bit cruel. At half time, they never switch over and carry horse for second half at course, do they?
I think that's a bit unrealistic, Fred, but thank you for your call.
Mike Stan taking your calls.
This is Mike Stan from Resolution Radio 2020. Before we join our sports roundup with Mac Waring, let's check in with Francisco Cumulonimbus, our head of our weather department, to see what the weather that Mac will be facing this afternoon. Good afternoon there, Francisco. What's the situation with the weather where Mac is going to be placed? Well, I have been in touch with via the email and texted a couple of my friends who live in this area, and what they've said is it is the Peter K style of rain which is coming down, which is very fine, but it wets you nevertheless. The Peter K style of rain. It's known as in weather forecasting circles, is known as Peter K rain. Yes, strangely confusing, but you mean it's sort of light and fine, but you get wet anyway? This is precisely correct, and so Mac needs to wear appropriate clothing for this, and possibly the windscreen wipers on his spectacles. Well, that seems like a comprehensive weather report to me. So it's over to Mac Waring. What sport are you covering this afternoon, Mac?
Good afternoon, Mike. This is Mark Waring with Sports Report from the World Chess Championships here in Birmingham. This is qualifying round 6, and it's a heat match between the United States of America versus Russia. And it's been laced with controversy right from the outset, as the boxes of chess pieces were opened up, and rather than the traditional colouring, one was dark red and the others was a sort of a beigey creamy colour. So instead of the traditional black and white pieces, it was dark red and beigey cream. And how did the contestants react to this? Well, they said it disrupted all their practice because they'd been practicing with the traditional pieces, Stauntons, of course, you know, and they were a bit confused at first, but they adapted very quickly, and they agreed with the Chess Federation that they roughly conformed to the traditional design, so therefore they were accepted by all parties. So the games are going to commence as usual, and in fact have started, and it's a very close match, team game, of course. It's 3-2 to the United States of America yet, and it's first to 9. So we're hoping for some close-fought, exciting chess matches later in the day. Well, that does sound thrilling. You said there was more than one controversy that interrupted play this morning. Oh, this is correct. One of the American contestants was complaining of arthritic pain in his wrist from the movement. So the trainer was brought on, and rather than a magic sponge, he was used a bit of liniment spray on his wrist to loosen up his tendons, I think they said. I'm not a medical man, so naturally I'm not 100% certain, but the main thing was that he limbered up after a while, doing some loosening exercises, and so therefore, I mean, the disastrous thing that nearly happened, because of lack of control of his fine motor muscles, he nearly knocked over his king, which could have been misconstrued as a concession. And of course, it wobbled a bit, and there was oohs and ahs from the crowd, but in the end, it stayed on its square, and he got the treatment that he called a timeout, and the trainer rushed on with his bag of magic tricks, you know, and he was okay. Well, keep us posted. This has been Well, this is Sports Roundup with Mark Waring outside the British Chess Championships, the International Chess Championships in Birmingham. Wonder why you're always outside. Well, anyway, that's why we get the weather report. You take care of yourself there, Mac.
Mike sending your calls.
And we just got an urgent bulletin here from Francisco as an update of the weather. Yes, we're a bit worried about Mac Waring being outside. The weather update is that around the Birmingham area, the weather has dropped to George Clooney, or perhaps as cool as Keanu Reeves level coolness, and so you may want to step inside. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Mike sending your calls.
Our next caller is William.
Aye, well, I was just having a conversation with a couple of the lads about darts, as whether that's a pastime or a sport, and one of them said, well, it's hardly, bows and arrows. They seem to be a bit highly strung at times, but there's no string to the bow with regards to it. They'll stand there and throw it on the hockey. And my other friend said that it's like miniature javelin. And then someone else chimed in. He says, well, is athletics a sport? It's just running, jumping and throwing things. And I thought, well, we seem to have degenerated into an alternate reality here where people don't believe that certain things are what they really are. But facts are facts. Snooker, and as you said yourself, Mike, snooker is indeed a sport. Because you keep score, it's adversarial, and there's never a tie. It's always a black ball finish.
Well, to save us having a tie, that's a black ball finish, and I think we'll award the game to you, William. Thank you for your call. If you like this channel, like and subscribe our page. Share it with your friends. If you understand the underlying message here, which is about entertainment and fun,
Keep smiling.
then continue to stay with us. I look forward to interacting with you in the future.